Hello, welcome. This is another tutorial and I hope you like it. It's very easy to make and you will need 3mm hook, but this is going to really depend on the type of yarn you're using. I'm using medium weight, non-mercerized cotton yarn. That means that it's not shiny, but my advice would be to try to find something very extra light so that your project is not heavy. This one is not heavy, but it could be a little bit lighter, if you know what I mean. So first I start by chaining 13. This chain will depend on your apex. I think it's called like that. So it's practically the distance from your nipple to your underbust. Try to measure that and go with that measurement. So if it's 3 inches, just make a chain of 3 inches. If it's 5 inches, chain of 5 inches. And once you have that chain, you're going to start working the other way. When you reach the end of that row, you're going to insert 3 single crochets into that last stitch. So I slowed it down, so it's 3 single crochets. And then you're going to continue working normally until the end of the row. So here I'm trying to point out that I'm not just catching that one, I'm trying to catch in between these two, because then it's a little bit sturdier. It's a little bit, it has more stability. So right in between those two, and then when you reach the end, you're going to chain 1, and then you will turn your work. So you're going to continue doing this practically for each and every row. There is no big philosophy here. So each and every row is just going to be single crochet everywhere, and then when you reach that top, in that middle stitch, you're going to insert 3 single crochets, so into the same stitch. It's as easy as that. And once you have your 3 single crochets inserted into that stitch, you're going to continue single crochets until the end of the row. So practically you're just going to be repeating this. When you reach the end of the row and you wish to continue in the same color, just chain 1 and turn your work. But if you wish to add a different color, this is how you do it. So just add the color and work it into your project, and then tighten the previous yarn a little bit, and of course the new yarn as well. And try to make them flush to your work, to your project. So you're going to skip that first one, and then you're going to try to work these tails, to work them into your project. In this way, you're going to avoid having any kind of knots or tying the knot in order to put the yarn together, and you're avoiding it being visible. This way you can really hide it. So you're just going to continue doing this until you're satisfied and the yarn is hidden, those tails. And then of course when you reach that top, you're going to repeat the same thing. In that middle stitch, you're going to add 3 single crochets. So for each and every row, you're just going to repeat this until you get the size and depth that you want. So this is the size and depth that I wanted, and it works for me. And you can do this now. You can just tie them together in the middle, but this is not really necessary because, I mean, later we will be putting them together with yarn because we need to make the bottom of this top. And now it's time to make the bottom part of the top. So to do this, you're going to make a chain of anywhere in between 13 and 22 or 3, depending on how much you want it to cover your back. At the end of the video, you will be able to see how much of my back it covered, and I chained 21. And then I had another chain to connect it to these 2 cups. Well, actually to 1 cup. So I try to measure and pay attention to the fact that each and every yarn will stretch a little bit after you finish, so don't overdo it. Don't put too many stitches. So I decided 21 was enough, and honestly, it was more than enough. I could have gone a little bit shorter on that, but it's all good. So now all I'm going to do is I'm going to continue doing crochets, and I'm going to do single crochets to attach it to the cups. And I'm just going to continue all across this first cup, and then I'll show you how I connect the cups. It's actually very easy. And here it is how I'm connecting the cups. I just continue doing the crochet, and I go in from the front, not from the back. Some people do it from the back, and that's okay. Everything that works for you is fine. Try it both ways and see. For me, front works much better, and as you can see, it's all nice and neat. So I just continue doing the same thing, and when I finish the cup, the second cup, I make a tail again of 21 chains, because I need to have the other side of the body part. Oh, and make sure to do this properly. Like each stitch should go in each single crochet should go into a single crochet of the previous row. And here I am finishing this row, and I really wanted to catch all the last stitches, and now I'm just going to continue stitching, and it's going to be chain of 21, and then I'm going to add one more. So after I finish that chain of 21 and that 21st stitch, I needed to stay there to be symmetrical. I'm going to add one more stitch, and then I'm going to turn my work. So this is what it looks so far, and now I'm going to, here I'm chaining one, and I'm going to turn my work. And now I'm going to start working from that first chain from the hook, single crochets all around. And this is what it looks like when it's all done. Well, not all of it, but the biggest work is done. And now I need to create the straps, and here you have two options. Well, actually three, but I'm going to talk about two options. So first option is to crochet to make a chain of a very, very, very long snake. I mean, I don't know what to call it. Let's call it chain, but yes, so it needs to be very, very long. So I made mine about 200. It wasn't enough for what I wanted it. So try to make that a little bit longer if you wish to use it the way I intended to use mine. I wanted the straps to be connected so that I can pull them in the back and tie everything, not around my neck, but around my body. And you will see what I mean when I finish. So eventually I added more, but still I find that regular ribbons that you can just get at any store that sells craft supplies, it's much better than making these. Why? Ribbons are very nice and silky, and they will glide. They will just nicely go through, and you don't have to bother with making these. You just go and get yourself some ribbon, and then you just sew it in. However, if you wish so, you can have this to be around your neck and to tie it and to secure it like that. It's again totally up to you. Second option is when you're actually making cups and you reach that top, the last row, instead of continuing that row for those 3 single crochets into the same chain on top of the cup, you can just continue crocheting 150 to 200 chain of stitches, and then continue back again to make it thicker, just the way I did here. I hope this all makes sense. And now this is what it looks like. This is in the back, and we need to add those little loops where we're going to pull this these straps through. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to chain one, well, it's a slip stitch, not really a chain, and then I'm going to connect it to the corner of the body. So when I do that, I'm going to go with slip stitches, pardon me. I'm going to go with slip stitches, and I'm going to try to work this tail in the work so it does not poke through. So make sure when you're doing this not to make them too tight. Some of mine were a little bit too tight, but eventually it all worked out, because if you make them very tight, it's not going to be easy to work into them, and you need them to be able to work your half double crochets really soon. So these are all slip stitches, and they're going to give firmness to the body piece, and it's not going to bend eventually, and it's not going to lose its shape. So that's why we're doing it. And once you finish the row, you're going to chain two. So this is the last slip stitch, and now I'm going to chain two, and I'm going to turn my work. So this is what it looks like right now. It's already starting to look better, honestly. And now I'm going to yarn over. So this is half double crochet, and I'm going to go under that slip stitch and insert that half double crochet. So I'm going to continue working these half double crochets until the end. And this is going to look very nice and very neat. I'm finishing, and this is what it looks like. But now I'm going to chain 4. So count how many stitches you have, and then divide them by how wide you want your loops to be. Then continue with slip stitches, the same number, 4 of these, 4 of these. That's my count in this case. So I chain 4, then I count 4, and then I slip stitch, and then I have 4 slip stitches in between, and then I make another loop, and I just alternate like that, as you can see. In this way, you're going to create very cute little loops. It's going to look very professional and finished. You're going to do this for both sides, of course, and it's well worth the trouble. And that's it. You're pretty much done. This is what they look like. And right now, this is the finished product. I realized that I could have decreased a little bit in the stitches right in the middle, right where the middle of the bust is. It would have made it follow the silhouette a little better, but when you fold it and when you put it on, it actually just goes straight if it's done this way. So I think all is well. And these are the back straps. As I said, it is a lot easier to just tie these around your neck and then lace up the bottom part, but it's your personal preference. And now this is the final result. I really hope you like it. And if you did, please give it a like, comment, subscribe, and share. Thank you for watching. Bye.